Chapter 10. Focus. Danny pulled out rule number 2 on a piece of paper, which said, Rule number 2, desire, vision, and focus move your bus in the right direction. Joy turned around, looked at George, and said, It's all about focus, George. Without focus, buildings don't get built, paintings don't get painted, and energy gets scattered. You told us what you want. You shared your vision. Now I want to help you turn that vision into reality, and it all starts with thoughts. How are my thoughts going to make my work and marriage better? George asked in a skeptical tone. The energy of thought, as we discussed, Joy answered confidently. Each day, I want you to focus on your vision for 10 minutes and see yourself creating everything you wrote down on your paper. You see, Georgie, there is a law of energy. It's called the law of attraction, Marty shouted from the back of the bus. That's right, the law of attraction, Joy continued. And it says that the more we focus on something, the more we think about something, the more it shows up in our lives. For instance, I bet every time you buy a new car, you start seeing it everywhere on the road. George nodded, knowing it was true. Ever wonder why that is? Joy asked rhetorically. But before George could answer, Joy said, Because thoughts are magnetic. What we think about, we attract. What we think about expands and grows. What we put our energy and attention on starts to show up more in our life. And the energy we project through our thoughts is the energy we receive. That's why so many people have had the experience of thinking of a friend or a relative, and then they call on the phone, Marty confirmed. The phenomenon actually has a scientific name. It's called telephone telepathy, he proudly shared, showing the research on his computer. Joy continued, There is an energy to thought. So it's important that you spend your time thinking about what you do want rather than what you don't want. You've got to focus. Do you know all those people, George, who all they do is complain? They focus on what they don't want, don't like, and don't have? Of course I do, George answered, thinking to himself that he was one of them. Well, I tell those people that when you complain, you get more things to complain about. So no more complaining and negativity, okay, George? I don't allow complaining on my bus, because if you're complaining, you can't be thinking about or creating what you do want. Plus, your complaining also ruins everyone else's ride. I have a saying that I used to say on my school bus to the kids, and now I even say it to my adult passengers as well, because they often need to hear it more than the kids. It goes like this: We're winners, not whiners. With that, the bus erupted in laughter, and everyone started chanting, We're winners, not whiners. So I want you to stop thinking about what you don't want and start focusing your energy on your vision and what you do want. Make sense, George? Joy asked. The more you see it, the more likely it will happen, Marty said from the back of the bus as he walked towards George to show him the research on visualization and Olympic athletes. All the Olympic athletes use it because there's so much research that shows it works, Marty said. Behind every gold medal are hours of visualizing their best performance or race. So why shouldn't dudes like you and I use it to create a phenomenal life and success? Marty knew this better than anyone else. He was one of those guys who never had any luck until Joy showed him to create his own luck by projecting lucky energy. He was a surfer who dabbled in the internet business, and he had just started a new company after selling his previous venture for several $1 million. Now, he only expects good fortune, and that's what he gets. We live in an energy field of dreams, Joy cheered. If you build it in your mind, focus on seeing it, and take action, the success will come. They were definitely making George think. His life was falling apart, and maybe it was because of his negativity, as his wife had told him so many times. He thought of himself at work and home and saw himself complaining a lot. But would changing these thoughts right now really make such a difference, he wondered? Would focusing on his vision really help attract it? He was an athlete, and he had heard about athletes using visualization before. But that's sports, and this is life. A lot of negativity and problems had been accumulating for a long time, and it had taken him a while to reach this crisis. Field of dreams, right, he thought skeptically. Instead, I'm building a big pile of you-know-what. Could he really turn it around that easily? But on the other hand, he didn't have a good reason not to try it. At this point, he would try anything if it meant saving his job and marriage. With a big product launch next Friday for the NRG 2000, this was a time for dreams, because he had nothing else. Chapter 11, The Power of Positive Energy. Okay, I'm on the bus, George said. I've got my direction set and my vision is good. But I have to tell you, it's not so easy to think about what you want and be positive when you don't have a lot of things to be positive about. And you keep getting what you don't want. You don't know the sharks I'm dealing with at work. You have no idea of the challenges I'm facing right now. I'm hitting a lot of roadblocks. You're right, George, Joy answered. I don't know all you're facing, but I do know that if you want to change your situation, you must first change your thoughts. Because if you keep on thinking what you've been thinking, you'll keep on getting what you've been getting. I also know this special formula I want to share with you. Show him, Danny. Danny reached into his briefcase and pulled out a paper-sized sheet of cardboard. As George wondered how many signs he had in there, Danny lifted up the cardboard which said, E plus P equals O. The E stands for events in your life, Danny explained. The P stands for perception, and the O stands for outcome. We can't control the events in our life, but we can control how we perceive them, and our perception and response to the events determine our outcome. The P can also stand for positive energy, Joyce said, and this formula explains why positive energy is so important. Sure, you have your vision for what you want to create in your life, but there will always be people who don't share your vision. There will always be potholes and roadblocks that can block your journey on the road of life. Things happen like your flat tire, George, but it's how we choose to deal with the events in our life that means everything. We all get down, but the key is what we do to turn life around. Like I told you, choose wisely. Positive energy and positive people create positive results. There is certainly a lot of negativity in the world, and choosing positive energy helps us deal with the negative people and negative situations that can knock us off course. Positive energy helps keep the bus moving forward with momentum. And we're not talking about fake kind of chest-thumping, rah-rah positive energy that simply masks our negativity and annoys people. No, this is the real deal. We're talking about real positive energy that helps you overcome obstacles and challenges to create success. We're talking about trust, faith, enthusiasm, purpose, joy, and happiness. We're talking about the positive energy to inspire and lead others. We're talking about the positive energy that makes you feel great instead of the negative energy that drains you. This is real stuff, my man, and it's the key to life and rule number 3. Show 'em, Danny. Rule number 3, fuel your ride with positive energy. Think of it like this, George, Joy continued. Desire, vision, and focus help you turn the bus in the right direction. But positive energy is necessary to take you where you want to go. Every day when we look at the gas pump of life, we have a choice between positive energy and negative energy. Positive energy is high-octane fuel for the ride of your life, while negative energy causes sludge to accumulate in your energy pipeline. But what do I do with the negativity I have? Asked George. Joy pointed to the trash bucket. Right there, George. You let it go. You release it. You throw it out. You transform it. When the work is piled high on your desk, think about how thankful you are even to have a job while so many are unemployed. When work is driving you crazy, think about the fact that you are healthy enough to work. When you're sitting in traffic, be thankful you can drive a car while so many have to walk miles just to get clean water. When the restaurant messes up your meal, think about how many unfed mouths there are in the world. And as I told my father a number of years ago when he lost the love of his life, my mother, you had the kind of love for so many years that many people spend a lifetime searching for and never find. Let's be thankful for that. Joy added, where there is a negative, there is always a positive. Where there is a dark cloud, there is always a sun shining behind it. So you're saying that I need to keep fueling my life with positive energy if I want to be successful, George asked. I'm not saying it, Joy answered. I'm screaming it. I have found that where there is a void, negativity will fill it. So we must keep fueling up with positive energy so the negative energy doesn't have room to expand. We must fuel up daily with positive thoughts, cultivate positive feelings, and take positive actions. Positive energy is all of these things. Without it, your ride will stall. And what about my team at work, George asked. Same thing, Joy answered. We'll need to get them focused and positive too. You want them to understand and be part of your vision. You'll want to get them on the bus. I've got some rules for you that are going to make them big-time successes, but we're not ready for that yet. First, let's help you fuel up with positive energy because you can't share the positive energy if you don't have it yourself. Once you get your bus rolling then, you'll be ready to ask your team to get on. 1 mile at a time, my man. One positive thought, feeling, and action at a time. We'll talk about your team soon. As the bus approached George's stop, Joy directed Marty to pull out what she called that energy book and read him the story about the positive dog. Marty picked up the book that was sitting next to him and started reading. A man goes to the village to visit the wise man, and he says to the wise man, "I feel like there are 2 dogs inside me. One dog is this positive, loving, kind, and gentle dog. And then I have this angry, mean-spirited, and negative dog, and they fight all the time. I don't know which is going to win." The wise man thinks for a moment and says, "I know which is going to win, the one you feed the most. So feed the positive dog." "Thank you, Marty," Joy said as she directed him to give George the book. "I can't," said George. "It's yours." "No, it's yours," said Marty. "We give them away all the time on the bus, so consider it a gift of energy. Instead of you swimming against the current of life, this book will help you ride some awesome energy waves." "That's right," said Joy. "This book is going to help you take action and feed the positive dog inside you so you cultivate the positive energy you need to succeed. It's pretty simple. Just do one of the 10-minute exercises in the book. Pick any one you want. Just do one today and feel your energy rise." "I will," George said. "I am ready to take action." As George walked off the bus and towards his building, Joy shouted, "Feed the positive dog, George! Feed the positive dog!" He looked back and pumped his fists in the air as he walked to work. But then he realized he was walking into a building where his future couldn't be more negative.